How can only men enforce the rights?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. You have rights, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What is a right?
A right is something that basically we've defined out through a Bill of Rights or a Constitution.
Something the government can't do to you.
It's an entitlement
Right.
absent a duty.
Right.
Is that a right?
Well, what do you mean by absent a duty?
There's no duty with your rights.
We have God-given inherent rights in America.
Okay.
Right? And that's where we enshrine our rights from, is the rights that God gave us.
So God gave you the right to own a gun?
He gave us the right to self-defense.
Did he give you a right to own a gun?
He gave us the right to self-defense.
Yeah, I know, but
And
that's
we
not
have
my question. Why do you keep on not answering my question? Did he give you a right to own a gun?
Yes.
Or is that... Okay, he did. So that was not, your right to own a gun is not something which can be taken away
Here's
from
the
you.
other thing. You say only men can be enforcers of law. There are women can
Rights.
actually
No, I
have
didn't
a
say
gun,
laws, I said
and they can
rights.
enforce rights. They can protect rights with guns as well, because guns are equalizers.
So let me explain this the best way.
men-
Let me explain this the best way I possibly can.
They give
so that you
children guns
understand.
in some
Yeah,
countries
Let me
to
explain
fight
this the best way that I
wars,
possibly
okay?
can.
So women can also
you're just
have
prattling.
guns.
You're just prattling.
It's not prattling.
I thought you wanted the explanation. Do you want me to give it to you or not? So
Guns' rights are women's rights.
I'll give you the explanation instead of your incessant prattle. So here's the actual explanation. Men are the enforcers of rights. Rights don't exist. They don't exist. You can't taste them. You can't touch them. You can't see them. They're a social construction.
No, men did not create the rights. God did.
Okay, he did. What
Yes.
rights did God give you?
God gave me the right to exist. He gave me free will.
You have a right to exist?
Yeah.
Oh, really? So you couldn't just wink out of existence tomorrow?
God created me.
What does that have to do with a right?
I have the right to free will.
You have a
Right.
you have a right to literally nothing except what
Freedom
other
of
people allow
speech.
you to
We
have.
God
All of your
given
rights
inherent
can be a.
rights. That's what it literally says in our Constitution.
I know what it says, but that doesn't mean it's true.
Oh, so you don't believe in the
I
Constitution?
don't believe that rights are real.
Okay, so you don't believe in the Constitution.
I don't believe that
so
rights
then
are
go
real.
to a different country.
I
then.
didn't say. What does that have to do with anything? Even if
You
I
don't
said,
believe in the
okay, I'll go to
Constitution.
another country. Now rights are suddenly real. That makes
So
no
why
sense.
are you even talking about rights if you don't
Because
even believe in the Constitution?
that's the core of what we're talking about, the right to vote. Last I checked, right?
You don't even care about rights because you don't believe in the Constitution.
I don't believe in rights.
Can I ask you a question?
I believe the
Women's
Constitution is real.
Do you think
But that doesn't mean I believe that
better
rights
since
are not
women
a
got the right to
social
vote?
construction. Our rights is social
So
construction.
how do you think the Constitution
You
is
keep asking me questions, even though I've answered all of them. Are you going to answer one of mine? Are rights a social construction?
I believe in the Constitution.
I know.
That
I believe.
Americans have the right to vote.
I believe. That's not. Are they real or not?
Is
Sir,
what real?
Rights.
Sir,
or are they a social construct?
No, I think our rights are God-given. See, in
What
the old
right
days-
is God-given?
Let me explain
can I
something
ask
to you.
a
In the
clarifying
olden days,
question?
Hold on, really quick. Let me explain something to you.
Okay, explain it.
Where did the monarchs used to derive their right from?
Oh, well,
God.
their right to rule,
The
yes.
monarchs were sovereigns, and they believed that they had the direct lineage from King David, and therefore they had been given the right of God to rule over their people.
Oh, monarchs
When we
did.
had, yes, because
Okay.
they believed they had been given the right from God to rule over the people. When
And
we
how did
had
they
the
enforce
Declaration-
that right
hold
to
on,
rule?
Don't interrupt. When we had the Declaration of Independence, right, we had 1776. That was a group of American founding fathers coming together and recognizing that they, in fact, were all given God-given rights. And it wasn't just the sovereign, that we were all sovereign,
This is all.
and that we were all given God-given
This is all
rights.
John Locke nonsense. Listen.
It's not
Well,
John
back it up.
Locke.
Well, back
This
it
is
up.
what
Yes, it is. It's
founded the American
enlightenment. Yes,
principles
the Enlightenment
and created the
principles.
middle class.
The Enlightenment principles
It
are
created
what
the middle
founded
class,
it.
okay?
Okay. Well, no, it didn't. But
Yeah,
anyway, the Enlightenment principles that you're talking about right now, they still acknowledge
Literally
that
did.
rights are social constructs. They have to be.
They're
and when
not.
you talk
That's
about
how you get your rights
when you
stripped
talk
from
about
you if you
a
believe
God
that ideology.
if your rights can be stripped on you, which is how you know the ideology I'm talking about is true.
If you can
They
convince
can't be
people,
real if they can be taken from you. You have a right to
How
nothing.
is this not more relativism?
What do you mean?
More
What do you mean by
relativism?
only men can
If you
enforce
can convince
rights?
people that
I'll
they
explain.
don't have any rights and it's all a social construct, you can strip them from them. You can
No.
convince them that
That's
they
what
don't have
happens.
rights.
But-
But if people know that they have God-given rights and that their rights come from God,
then they can act as though they're real, and then they can enforce that.
they are real.
God did
not
not
real.
give us a right to vote,
They're made up.
unfortunately.
Our rights are real.
They're socially constructed. Can you point out a right for me real
So
quick?
how do you call
Hey, is there a
yourself
right
a
over there?
Christian?
What about over there? Is there a right down there? Is there a right? I don't see any. Where are they?
Do you not believe in the authority of God?
Yes, of course. God is an existent objective
Okay,
being.
so what did God tell Israel?
About which thing?
Okay, did he not give him authority? Did he not give the line of David authority?
You can
did
say,
he not give his children
but
authority?
Who enforced the authority of kings? Kings.
Okay, so the priests apparently are given rights from God, correct?
Yes, and they enforce their authority as well.
Okay, so
you always
how's
have
that
an
not a
enforcement
social
arm.
construct in your
Because
logic?
these are objectively given from a being. The construction of your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th amendments, all of them are social constructs. They don't exist in tangible reality. If they do, point one out. Show me. Show me your right to vote. Where is it? Absent your mind, show it to me.
The one for quartering.
You can say that with anything.
Yeah, no, well, you can say about anything that is a social construct.
We're talking about the spirit. So, of course, you're not going to be able to have something physical when we're talking about the spiritual.
That blonde is making a really good argument as to why women shouldn't
No
vote.
shit. But anyway, back to this.
Can I ask a
Back to this.
question?
Hang on. Let us finish the argument. We're almost done.
I know.
We have.
It's ridiculous. No, you guys
Can you
want a
show
bunch
me,
of guys like him
absent the mind,
that
where
don't
your
believe
rights
in the
are?
Constitution to vote? Okay. That's great.
The rights aren't a social construct. Can you point to one outside your mind?
The
Can you
quartering-
point to a right outside your
Can you
mind?
point to the
Don't
spirit
ask me a
outside your
question.
mind?
Answer my question. Can you point to a right outside your
Can you physically
mind?
define the spirit?
That's another
Can you
question.
physically define
Stop
consciousness?
asking the question. Answer it.
No, because
No,
you're not.
because you can't.
No,
You can't answer
no,
it.
because
you,
you're not
you
the
imbecile.
one driving
Where
this
is a right
conversation.
absent your brain? Where
But,
is it?
Okay, but
Define the consciousness.
why can women not vote
See,
if they're
the
not the
funny thing
enforcers of
here
rights?
is-
I want to know that.
No, the funny thing here is this is what's
Remember-
debated when scientists are talking about AI. They're debating consciousness, and there are so many philosophers and people that debate consciousness all the time.
Yeah.
So you're asking me to define the spiritual and consciousness and put it into a physical state, which you know is impossible. So you're going with a false argument
Consciousness
here
are rights?
to try to prove a point that you're not even touching.
Consciousness are rights? Being conscious means that you have
Your
rights?
spirit and your soul.
Do people in
is where
Somalia
you,
who are conscious have rights?
So you don't
Where
believe
are
in
rights
spirit?
absent your brain?
Why can't
Where are
women
they?
vote? Why can't
Where
women
is
vote?
your right to vote absent your mind?
Where is your
Stop
argument
asking me a
absent your
question
mind?
and answer one.
Where is your argument absent
I'll
your
tell you what, I'll
mind?
answer any fucking question you want after you answer this one.
Where is your argument outside of your subconscious? outside of your
All of my
conscious?
arguments are based in the epistemological. The epistemology and the ontology that I have comes directly from God and divine command.
Really?
This answers, yes, and yours
And
too.
I said,
and all
I
Christians.
believe my rights are God given.
That's great.
So why are you? Why
and
are
that's
yours
what
and
we're
mine
talking about. Now, I just answered your question. Now, answer mine. Where is this right to vote absent your brain?
Where's your argument?
Yeah, I
absent your brain?
just won't answer it, no matter what.
Wait, can you answer his question though?
No, she
just answer
can't.
the question.
She knows. She already knows. It's a
My
fail.
rights
Where's your
absent
right
my
to
brain?
vote absent your brain?
I've been saying this whole time. My rights are God given.
Your right to vote comes from
So-
God?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. My right.
Wait, hold
my
on.
right
Wait,
does
hold
come
on.
from God.
$200.
Andrew's got to go
My
take
right to
his
have a
time.
say
hold
in
on.
what government does.
Expired.
My right to vote
Right
comes
to vote
from
is a civil
God.
right
That's right.
franchisees do in bankrupt corporations. Your substantial rights are what you should focus on.
Yeah, go have a smoke. You can't define consciousness in a physical state. Like
He hasn't answered why he thinks women
No,
should.
he hasn't. The whole thing
He's
has
coming
been
back.
No,
He's
the
coming
whole
back.
thing
Hold on.
he's been doing here has been because he can't actually answer
Hold on.
why
hold
he
on.
thinks
Hold
that
on.
women shouldn't be
He's
able
gone.
to
He can't respond. So let me get through. a
vote. He
couple
went down
things.
some really
Rose
crazy long
donated
rabbit hole.
$200.
What he does.
Ridiculous.
The Constitution is a commercial charter, which expired. The right to vote is a civil right franchisees do in bankrupt corporations. Your substantial rights are what you should focus